I first met Scott in the late 90s after he started his law practice in Las Vegas. We had mutual friends and our paths crossed a few times. I didn't really get to know Scott until I ran for office for the first time, and our friendship grew from there. Scott was a true defender of the underdog, and no one fought harder to protect consumers in the area of construction defect. In 1995, Scott participated in the creation of Nevada's first construction defect law, known as Chapter 40. I wasn't elected to the legislature until 2000, but early on in my career, it was clear Scott was the go-to up-and-coming lawyer with the Nevada Trial Lawyers Association. Scott worked tirelessly as an unpaid lobbyist for the association, fighting to give homeowners the right to receive full compensation for faulty construction. In 2003, Scott was awarded the Trial Lawyer of the Year from the Nevada Trial Lawyers Association. Scott was the youngest attorney ever to receive the association's most prestigious award.
So Scott was my cousin, but he was really more like a brotherly figure to me and an absolute mentor. He was an absolute badass in the courtroom and someone absolutely to be reckoned with. A lot of people, if anybody knows about construction defect law, he and Bob Maddox were really the founders of what we call Chapter 40. I don't think there's another attorney in Nevada who's done more for consumer rights when it comes to construction defect than Scott. He represented so many homeowners and fought so hard at the legislature. And one thing that was about Scott is that he was one of the most ethical and honest people. He would do things that might not be in his best interest, but it was in the best interest of the overall rights for consumers in Nevada. So, there's literally not an attorney in Nevada that was more fought harder for consumer rights. But on a personal level, he really was probably one of the most fun-loving, generous people that I've ever known. He had so many charities that he contributed over the years. He was such a hard worker. And he was just a fun person. Scott, grew up, he was raised in Reno, and our family came over from Italy and were ranchers. And so Scott really was out on the ranch in the summers and was out helping brand cattle. And like I said, he was always a hard worker, and that's how we were raised. You worked hard. And he carried that on through his life, and he carried his love for family on through his life. He and his mother were both born on Friday the 13th, March 13th, at the same hospital, delivered by the same doctor. And he had a bond with his mother like I have never seen before. He just truly did make people feel loved and cared for, and that he was there for you. If you ever needed Scott, he was there for you. Being in the industry, you hear a lot of people just thinking, oh, Scott was this millionaire. I look at it from a standpoint of I know what he came from. I know that he worked his ass off for every penny that he made. But without his support staff, without his partners, without all the people that he worked alongside and his mentors that he worked with, coming up in the field, he wouldn't have been where he was. But he worked hours and hours. He would work tirelessly during those trials or those legislative sessions. And I think that's something that people often forget about is, yes, he was very successful. He made a lot of money at what he did, but he worked hard for every penny that he made. For purposes of, younger attorneys coming up, I think Scott would want me to say, to be ethical, work hard. Nothing's free in life. And that was one thing that he really instilled in me and just our family, like I said. But you have to work hard and have those ethics, and when you're representing your clients, making sure that you're doing the right thing and pushing hard and pushing forward to them and not giving up. Scott had to fight year after year after year at the legislature. So I think that's, something on a business sense. And then on a personal sense, I think just live life to the fullest. He did. He lived more in his 56 years than a lot of people do in 100. He worked very hard, but he played very hard as well. But just enjoy life, because life is short, and you really do have to live every day as it may be your last.